Hi, welcome to Cracking MBA. Today we're going to talk about paragraph formation. This is also called as jumbles in some places. Some of the key concepts we're going to talk about are related to what paragraph formation is all about, what are the different types of questions that we can expect, and how we can sequence the sentences to arrive at a logical paragraph, and some of the tips to arrive at the answer quickly. So paragraph formation primarily consists of a few sentences which we need to sequence in a particular order so that it makes logical sense. Now, why do we have these kind of questions coming in the competitive exams? Basically, it is to test the candidate's ability to express their ideas in a sequential format. For example, tomorrow when you're writing an email to your client or to your boss or anyone else, the thought that you would like to express should be clear using multiple sentences. So that someone who reads that particular paragraph knows that what you're trying to convey. Okay, so this is an important topic and it has been coming in CAT for quite a number of years. So make sure that you pay attention to this particular topic and do a lot of practice. So let us now look at some a sample question here. We are given four sentences here and we would like to identify the correct sequence. So the first sentence says the CEO of the company met the young college graduates. Second says, however, he acknowledged that had it not been for his father's sacrifices, he would have not have reached that position. His mantra was that hard work and determination were what helped him succeed. They asked him the secret of his success. So clearly, they are not in a particular order. So if we want to sequence them in a particular order, first of all, we should identify what are the set of sentences and the order in which we need to construct the sentences so that we can form a logical paragraph. So if we look at this particular sentence, we can see that the CEO, A is the first option. The CEO meant the young graduates. D follows, which says they asked him the secret of his success, followed by C, which says his mantra was that hard work and determination were what helped him succeed. And then it concludes with B, he acknowledged. So the correct sequence is A, D, C, and B. And if you read out the sentences in that particular order, you can find that it makes a clear and logical construction to be able to form a paragraph. Now let's look at some of the tips to solve these kind of questions. The first tip is to identify the continuity words such as but, therefore, hence, however, and so on. So why do we need to identify this? Basically, it gives a clue that this particular sentence is going to follow an idea from another sentence. So that will help you identify the other sentence to form a connecting pair. So let's look at this question from 1999. There are four sentences given here. Please take 5 seconds to read these four sentences, sorry. So clearly here we can see that the option B starts as a good starting point. Nature itself is an integrated system of checks and balances. And we can see in option A that we are seeing the connecting continuity word called however. So however is referring to something from another one of these other sentences B, C, and D. Okay. So group decision making, however, so it's saying it is in contrast to another statement which is talking of individual behavior, which is option C. So in option C, we are saying which inhibits concentration of power in only some individuals, and option A is contradicting by saying not only just about individuals. If you go for group decision making, also you have some kind of issues. So the natural pair is C followed by A. And if we look at all the four sentences, we can see that starts as a good starting sentence, followed by D, followed by C, followed by A. So the correct answer is B, D, C, and A. So here, what you need to take away is the fact that you need to look for the continuity words, where just like we have however over here. Next, you need to look for referencing words. So these are something like they, them, such, also, he, she, him, her, and so on, which refers to a certain other person or object in another sentence. So if we look at this CAT 2001 question, we can clearly see that this is mentioned, him, he returns to the point. So these are basically sentences which are referring an idea in another sentence. So please take 10 seconds to just review these four sentences before we proceed with how to analyze them. Okay, so now if we try to analyze this using this second tip, we can see it is mentioning option A, they accepts this sorry fact without approval or complaint. So this sorry fact refers to something in other sentences where there is really a sorry fact. Okay, so clearly we can see it is in option E where he talks about translators coming somewhere near nurses and street cleaners. So this is a sorry fact which is being referred to in A. So naturally E followed by A is a now logical sequence. Then he can see that he acknowledges to, in fact he returns to the point. So if we see that he refers to some person and it could be Michael Hoffman, which is defined in A. Okay, so he also, in fact, you can also see he returns to the point where the best translators of poetry always fail at some level. So he's referring to that point as well, which is nothing but that sorry fact. So E, A, and C form a logical grouping. So this is sufficient to eliminate a couple of options. So option 2 and option 4 are clearly out. We have option 1, option 3, and option 1. Okay, 131. So we have EACDB or EACBD. So clearly, if we look at these options a bit closer, we can see that but thanklessness and impossibility do not daunt him, which is a continuity of option C, and finally it's D. Hoffman feels passionately about his work, and this is a conclusive sentence. So the correct answer is EACBD. So basically what we have achieved using these referencing words is a connecting pair. So EAC has been a connecting pair which we've identified, based on which we have been able to solve this question. Now let's look at how we can apply this same concept to the 1999 question which we saw before. There also we see certain referencing words such as institutions also alter this delicate balance. So clearly the answer is B followed by D, because this delicate balance is referring to the balance that is being referred to in option B. Okay, so it's B, D. Directly we have identified this pair, and that will help us solve the question. Next, you need to shortlist based on options. So sometimes the options reveal to you what could be the starting sentence. So if we see these options clearly, the starting sentences could either be D or C. Okay, so you could start from there. So take 5 to 10 seconds to read the question sentences before we approach this question. Okay, so here clearly we can see that either starting sentence could be C or starting sentence could be D. Okay, so if we assume that the starting sentence is D, okay, each of us has a mental model that we've used over the years to make. The next sentence cannot be, however, the real challenge today is unlearning, which is not referring to the point being mentioned in D. So if we see the other options, then if you think the option C is the first starting sentence, we can clearly say learning is important for both people and organizations, and this is being continued in the option A, which says the real challenge is unlearning. So learning and unlearning. So C and A follow a correct pair. And then we can see that each of us has a mental model that we've used over the years, which is D, and but the new world of business behaves differently. This is a conclusive sentence. So the answer is CADB. So here we just have 4 sentences, but if we have multiple sentences, like 5 sentences, looking at the options can help us finalize the starting sentence much easily. Now let's look at another approach where we identify a pair and eliminate the invalid options. So in this we are given 4 sentences, and clearly we need to be able to identify which pair follows, so that that pair can help us eliminate the incorrect options. Just take 5 seconds to read all the sentences so that we can review this tip. Okay, clearly we can see that option D, digital marketing, was conceived essentially as a means for large brands to reach out to their online customers, follows by A because it clearly says it has clearly done much good by helping large organizations. Okay, so D is followed by A, and then but to say it has always helped, so we are saying that in B we are trying to contradict a little bit of what A is saying, And so DAB is a natural sequence. So if you look at the options directly, we can eliminate all of them and conclude option 4. Or even if we have not gone to the point of saying B, we clearly know that D follows A. And if you look at all the options, it is just option 4. So directly you can arrive at the answer without looking at the other points of B and C. So this way, if you are very confident about a pair, look at the options, eliminate the other options and arrive at the correct answer. Now let us look at a CAT question and see how we can apply this concept to solve that questions. Take 5 seconds to read this question and then we'll look at this tip. Okay, here what we are saying is, in option E, we are saying the first came with those magnificent men in their mahogany chambers who took on the world with their mighty fountain pens. Option D follows it naturally because it is referring to the point in E. In D, we are saying media barons wrested back control from their editors. So in E, we are talking about these editors, and then in D, we are talking referencing about that. So a natural pair is E followed by D, and then we can clearly see that this follows with B. Now they are starting in a new role. So they are referring now to the media barons. So EDB is a grouping, and if we see the options, we can clearly say that option 4 is the correct answer, AEDBC. Okay, so this way, if you are very confident about a pair, just look at the options, eliminate the invalid option, and just arrive at the answer. So these are some of the 4 tips that we have shared. There would be many more approaches for you to solve these questions, but use this as a starting point. Try solving more questions. If you think they're insufficient, try to add to your list of tips that you have, and hope they help you in solving this particular section.